When you hear idol anime, what are the first words that come to mind? For those who are into some series of the genre or see the key visuals, they may say cheery, happy, bright, or maybe even guilty pleasure. For those who are unfamiliar and may carry some prejudices towards these stories, there may be some more critical words used, such as shallow, childish, or fanservice-y. But like any other genre, there is the good, the mid, and the bad. But there's a lot of nuance and conditions that going into making the outcome of a series, quote, good or bad. And not all anime, let alone idol anime, are created equally. For starters, there's usually a stark contrast between how people view female idol series compared to male idol series. And while we won't dive into the intricacies of that today, nor am I here to argue the writing quality of one compared to another, we are going to focus on one specific male idol series and what makes it so special to those who have given it a chance. IDOLiSH7, a male idol anime that breaks through the misconceptions of its own genre. At surface level, you've heard the premise before, a male idol anime revolving around 7 boys trying to fulfill a dream of being, well, idols. But IDOLiSH7 at its core is a deep interpersonal character drama that delves into inner conflict, trauma, finding your place in the world as an adult, and subsequently what it means to be a part of something. While IDOLiSH7 is still an idol series at its basic state with key visuals that look like this and this, I would be remiss not to mention that the series carries many darker elements and topics throughout its run that often make people think, is this truly an idol anime? And people will often pitch the series to others with the shock value it offers, and while yes, there is attempted murder, kidnapping, and child abuse covered in the series, and is worth its own discussion and discretion, I don't want to put too much emphasis on that being the reason why IDOLiSH7 is good, because while these topics are shocking in contrast to the genre's regular image you'd expect, I don't believe this is what actually sets IDOLiSH7 apart. Although it's handled very well, it's not the dark scenes that make it good or worth one's time specifically, but rather it's because of its deeply human side, its respect towards its audience, and the value of a well-written story that is filled with hope and optimism. There are 4 main idol groups within the series. We have the titular IDOLiSH7, who would be the closest to a typical idol group, and are the newbies in the industry. They have a very bright and cheery image, and often fall into chaos on variety shows due to their inexperience as idols, because they're just idol-ish. You know, like, kind of idols. And there's 7 of them. So, yeah. Anyways, because of this, they could be considered the idols closest to the fan perspective due to their more real approach, rather than holding an image concocted by their company. However, their rival group, Trigger, is almost the direct opposite. They are the highly produced, sexy idol group that have a very strict and professional image to maintain due to the big management office they're from. But they highly value their fans and take pride in the experience they give them for their concerts, and the quality of their performance reflect that gratitude. In the second season, we're then introduced to the duo Rivale, who are already established veterans within the industry. They are known for their closeness, and notably their what they call married couple act. They are the oldest idols of the bunch, they know how dirty the industry can be, and because of this, they often look out for the newer idols from the other groups. Finally, in the third season, you're introduced to the final group, the anti-idol idol group, Zool. I won't dive too deep into them today as they're introduced later in the series, but they're the bad boys, if you will. At least, they want to be. It may seem like a lot of characters to balance, with 16 in total, but they're introduced in a very palatable way over the course of multiple seasons, and the series does a great job at managing the number of characters. All the characters have unique relationships not just within their own groups, but also with the idols from the other groups, which helps consistently make for really interesting combinations of interactions. Of course, there are still character tropes used in the series. You have the tsunderes, the optimists. Did I say tsunderes? and even the over-exaggerated foreigner.
Oh, Jesus! My Moscow steak! No!
But all the characters still feel three-dimensional and don't just become their tropes. One of the happiest characters of the series, Momo, carries some of the biggest sadness in his heart. And one of the youngest characters, Tamaki, is immature at times, but he also proves to be one of the most emotionally intelligent characters of the whole series, despite his age. And throughout the series run, you gradually get introduced to each character who has their own background, problems, motivations, and frankly, traumas. With most of the characters' backgrounds and problems stemming from familial issues, it's likely why the found family aspect of the series is so strong and pronounced in the first place. It's through these new formed bonds that they make with each other that helps them resolve their deeply rooted issues. But when I say resolve, I don't necessarily mean it disappears. One of the most admirable aspects of IDOLiSH7 is the non-linear character development it has. With a mostly adult cast, IDOLiSH7 doesn't shy away from showing a character's flaws, because adults still don't have all the answers. While the characters evolve and grow with each other, a resolution to the current conflict doesn't necessarily mean that it's magically cured and goes away thanks to the power of friendship. You'll still find them taking steps backwards from time to time, but the writers are able to balance it really carefully in order to make the characters never feel out of character, but instead they just have very human traits that a lot of people can find themselves in. That being said, I do want to say that the series is not romance focused, nor is it a reverse harem or dating sim. There's definitely enough intriguing character dynamics and moments to feed those who like to explore and indulge in shipping, but for those who don't, you are free to simply enjoy the platonic bonds that they share.
Yuki. Ah. Yuki, 超イケメン。知ってる。
I don't have a platonic explanation for them. Anyways, with a mostly male cast and a female manager of the main titular group, some may have the misconception that it's a reverse harem, and that's simply not the case. IDOLiSH7's group manager, Tsumugi, who is technically voiceless in the game and can be named whatever you want, she's not a self-insert type of character in the traditional sense. She has her own storyline, her own background, and her own motivations. I will say early in Season 1 they play into the teasing and flirting with her a bit more, but due to the nature of the mobile game being a gacha, it makes sense that early in its story the creators may have wanted to explore their own avenues to find what worked for them. It's honestly quickly done away with, and it doesn't weigh down the series in the long run. While the idols themselves are the main part of the series and what really drives the narrative, IDOLiSH7 takes it a step further by still putting importance in the fans, the managers, the company presidents, and even the politics behind the entertainment industry as a whole. As an example, unionization of the entertainment industry is a plot device in the series at one point. And I want to clarify that it doesn't exposition dump, but instead they do a very good job at integrating the behind-the-scenes politics and even the uglier sides of the industry and how they affect the main characters and their goals. And it's always these feelings behind the stage that propel the character drama that makes up the series. Because at the end of the day, the story is about the characters, and there's nothing that exists in the story that doesn't work towards someone's development. But I also want to give credit to the series for showing a lot of respect towards the behind-the-scenes staff within its world. The songwriters, composers, television producers, concert stage directors, and even camera people are all given weight in life. They don't have to play a major role in the story to still be respected. And even in the real world, these are usually thankless and invisible jobs. But the series continues to make sure they're seen. And I think it's really telling of the staff behind IDOLiSH7 as a series and how much care they themselves put into the work. IDOLiSH7 wouldn't be what it is today without the people behind the scenes, and one of the best ways I can describe IDOLiSH7 is that it feels like a fanfic, and I mean that with the highest compliment. Because when everyone who works on a series is making it as a fan themselves, there's a specific care and passion that goes into the end result you wouldn't get otherwise. At the time of development, there were a lot of female idol series in the industry which had a mostly male demographic audience, so IDOLiSH7 was started to help alleviate the missing gaps for female audiences. Having just celebrated their very important 7th anniversary last year, the series is still going strong and has garnered a lot of attention from all demographics, and it's in no doubt thanks to the care the staff has put into the series for all these years. It first began as an original mobile game project in 2015 from Bandai Namco Online and developed by G2 Studios. But the series wouldn't exist at all without the writer Tsushima Bunta, who has carefully crafted these characters and this world in such a human way. And of course, we also have the original character designs by the very established mangaka Arina Tanamura, who has been there since the beginning of the series and continues to have a working relationship with the project, including promotional art and manga spin-offs over the years. Then, in 2018, the series was able to find a growing audience with its phenomenal anime adaptation by the animation studio Troika, with director Makoto Besho helming the project for all of its seasons, Ei Aoki of Fate Zero fame credited under supervision, Ayumi Sekine handling the series composition, and Kasumi Fukagawa adapting the character designs for the anime. Mobile game anime adaptations are notorious for being incredibly hit or miss, with probably more of a miss record if we're being honest. The format has proven incredibly difficult to translate into an anime setting, but it's highly dependent on the staff behind the project. Anime production is very complicated considering there are many conditions that go into these projects, such as scheduling, funding, staff shortages, etc. The anime industry is large and often understaffed but overworked, and while we won't get into the specifics here as this video isn't focused on that, I didn't want to continue without mentioning it, because in an industry with these conditions and complications, it feels even more miraculous when you're able to get an outcome like IDOLiSH7, which is also unique in the way that it doesn't follow normal anime core schedules. Usually an anime core is 12 to 13 episodes per season to fit TV scheduling, but with IDOLiSH7, they've received rather unconventional episode numbers, with the first season being 17 episodes, the second season having 15 episodes, and the third season having 30 episodes in total. But it's thanks to this leniency that allows Troika to run the natural pace of the original story without having to rush or cut important scenes. Although the game is wonderful on its own merits, with it only being in Japanese and a gacha game in nature, it isn't the most accessible app. So to have an anime adaptation that serves as a perfectly viable option to experience such a story is something to be celebrated. Because not only does it excel at staying true to its source material, but I think it does what an adaptation is meant to do by elevating the source material into a new experience that can only be had through the animated format. It serves as not only a great show on its own if you're anime only, but also a beloved and reliable adaptation for those who are already familiar with the original source by still surprising its fans. For example, I won't spoil what it is here, obviously, but there is a major plot point in Season 3 that's very subtly foreshadowed a whopping 25 episodes before the actual reveal. But if you know, you know. Now, you might have heard me listing off the number of episodes in each season and been like, whoa there, just how much is there? Well, there are 3 full seasons out right now. That makes up a total of 62 episodes. And then there's a YouTube exclusive mini season called Vibrato, made up of 8 half-length episodes that are essentially extra side stories that take place during Season 1's events. It may seem like a lot, and you might be thinking, how much idol drama can they even have for 3+ seasons? Not to mention how rare it is for an anime series that isn't a shonen to even get up to that many seasons to begin with, but it may be even rarer that an anime series gets stronger the longer it goes on. IDOLiSH7 continues to get better throughout its run, but one of my favorite parts about the series is its handle of melodrama, because there are definitely still some parts to it that feel anime, like this bunny. But there's also nothing inherently wrong with that. It's a fictional story for a reason, but IDOLiSH7 does a good job with maintaining intensity while not letting the drama overstay its welcome. When everything is rooted in the characters and their reactions, especially when your characters feel as human as IDOLiSH7's, a lot less suspension of disbelief is needed during even the most dramatic moments because you're already rooting for these characters and their journey. Now, Now, while their journey is of the musical variety as it is an idol series, I wouldn't necessarily claim it as a music series in a traditional sense. Like mentioned before, it is definitely more of a character drama than a music show, so you won't get the song of the episode that you might expect from other idol shows. Music is used, they really pick optimal times to utilize it in order to make it impactful to the characters and by extension the viewer. Even the background music composed by Tatsuya Kato is very well thought out and carefully handled. It works towards elevating scenes, including rearrangements of the group's regular songs that are sprinkled throughout the series as background instrumentals. And this is in no way a dismissal of the music of the groups, as they're all very good and have their own distinct sound, so you're bound to find something you enjoy. IDOLiSH7 typically has the more pop, classic, idol-sounding music. Trigger tends to lean more on the sexy side. Rivale is the no genre and tends to be more experimental in different styles. And lastly, Zool tends to lean more edgy, if you will, with more rapping parts than the other groups. But again, I would say the behind the scenes of the stage is a lot more in the focus rather than the on-stage performances, but they're enjoyable nonetheless, and the series has a working relationship with many talented composers and music producers of the industry, with songs from ISA of YOASOBI fame, and KZ, among many others who are incredibly talented. Of course, I can't go on without mentioning the voices behind the cast that make these characters come to life. The cast has many notable voice actors, including Kensho Ono, Eguchi Takuya, Ken, Saito Soma, and many others. The cast is very vocal about their love towards their characters and the series itself. These voice actors aren't cast to be idols, they're simply playing a role, but during concerts for the series, they still put their everything into the performances, with most of them styling or even dyeing their hair similar, or wearing colors that are synonymous with their characters. Infamously, the cast has matching number necklaces that correspond with their characters' numbers from the kanji in their names, and years later they still wear these during lives and other events for the series. Fiction inspires life, and in return, life inspires fiction. In their concerts, also called lives, they often recreate choreography from the anime version, but in return, the anime also takes inspiration from the lives, often reanimating moments directly from the cast. And it's this attention to detail that has let the fans know how much they care. IDOLiSH7 is handled with so much care and love from each corner of production, from the staff of the original game, to the staff of the anime, to the voices behind the cast. And when the story itself is rooted in so much passion, it feels really special when the love towards the series matches with the love the series puts out itself. As you watch IDOLiSH7, you can easily feel just how much passion is behind the series from each corner of production, and what makes the series so special is that you yourself feel as if you are a part of that special something. The series itself is very conscious of fans and fan culture in general, and respects it a lot. There are recurring fans in the show that watch the idols grow and become somewhat of a reflection of the audience itself. Fan culture, both the good and the bad sides of it, are highlighted in IDOLiSH7. And it's this awareness of every point of view that the staff and production is able to give so much respect towards its own audience. All in all, I truly think that this is a series that many who give it a try could find something special in. But it's a series that you have to be willing to have an open mind going into it. Otherwise, your preconceptions of the genre will get in the way of your enjoyment. I think this could go for just about trying anything new to watch, but if you go into a series looking for things to pick apart or looking for things to justify your prejudices, then of course you're gonna find them. But by looking for them, you'll miss out on all the things that the series can do right for you. I won't say it's a masterpiece, nor will I call it flawless, but IDOLiSH7 stays true to itself and thrives in its humility, hope, and well-built trust between the series and its fans. Whether you have a dream that feels out of reach, or you're simply a little lost in life, I think IDOLiSH7 not only approaches those topics gracefully, but is a series in itself that can give you a place of belonging and comfort.
100人に愛されるお前じゃなくて お前に愛されるお前になれ。そしたらいつか1万人がお前を愛するようになる。それが自分自身を真面目に生きるってことだろ。
So now I'll ask you one more time. When you hear idol anime, what are the first words that come to mind? For me, it is simply love. IDOLiSH7 is a love letter. From the creators to the fans and the fans' passion and support towards the series in return. Idol anime has an unfair reputation and it may not be for everyone. However, I think there is power in something that is so special it has the capability to move others. And this video itself wouldn't even exist in the first place if it wasn't for its ability to do just that. It's never been its dark and gritty side that has made it worth its time or popularity. Instead, it's the very human emotions that IDOLiSH7 leaves with you that makes you happy to be a part of it. It gives you a place to be a part of something, if even for a moment in time. I know nothing lasts forever. This series will come to an end one day, or maybe I'll eventually lose interest and find something new to love even more. But I don't think it's the feelings that last forever that are the most treasurable. It's the ones that you can undoubtedly look back on and think, I'm really happy to have met you. IDOLiSH7 is that feeling, because I'm really happy to live in the same time as IDOLiSH7. I'm really happy to have met IDOLiSH7. These fictional characters aren't real, but these feelings of love, happiness, and encouragement that I've received from this series are real and irreplaceable. And it's all because of one of those idol anime.